Sup witches, Celeste of the Silver Cord here, bringing you your full moon astrology and ritual for April 7th, 2020. This is the full pink moon. It's called the full pink moon simply because it's when all the flowers are starting to bloom, especially like the azaleas and stuff like that. I know my yard was hot pink for a while, but then it already got hot out, so they've all died back. The rune that I'm working with this month is the Crossroads rune. And this is about making major life decisions, the unknown, stuck, being afraid to make a move. And that's really profound with everything that's going on right now. I actually used this rune for this moon last year at the same time. I was at a really big crossroads in my life. And I know many people were. A lot of people went through a lot of trials last year that put them in a situation now where everything that's going on really is actually giving them a little bit of peace, whereas people who haven't been going through the trials of going through working on themselves and things like that, this is that trial for them. So this is about adapting to new circumstances. We got the full moon in Libra and the sun in Aries at 18 degrees bringing 9. So this is a lot of intellectual self-discipline versus ambition, logic, practical. These are the energies that you should be reaching for instead of the negative aspects of these signs. Like Libras, it's having a hard time social distancing. They really like to talk and be around people. Aries usually are taking charge of a situation and liking to have control and not being able to have that control. So this is a time to really put self-discipline, ambition, and logic and practical, strategic ways of using that warrior energy between those two, between Aries, the warrior, and Libra, the justice, and balancing that out. This is a time of karmic justice or karmic retribution just in the world. And what I mean by that is the karmic scales are just being wiped clean right now. That's the big shift that's happening. This is an opportunity for everybody to clear all that baggage, that weight you've been carrying on your shoulder, those past traumas and things like that. And you can be a warrior of hope or a warrior of fear, and that is the split that we all have going on right now. Turn off my heater, it's a little getting warm in here now. So you can be a warrior of hope or a warrior of fear, and this is a karmic time of justice and retribution. So a lot of people that are going to be having a hard time are simply clearing karmic debts that they haven't cleared yet. If you've been clearing your karmic debts over the last 2 years, like a lot of us have, this actually may be more of a peaceful break for you. But just don't underestimate what other people are going through. This is really a time to focus on self. We have Mars and Saturn in Aquarius, Mars at 5 degrees, Saturn at 1 degrees. This is being strategic with fast-paced changes, new structures, new orders, hope and inspiration versus boredom and despair. Once again, this is the duality split. Are you using this time to be creative? Are you using this time to work on yourself and find new ways of doing things so that you can still be a productive person? Or are you just kind of dwelling on everything that's going on right now and binge watching the news and dwelling in that fear? So this boredom will lead you to despair, is what I'm saying here. I'm using some frankincense. If you don't have any sage, frankincense works well too for clearing the air of not just negativity, but also of bacteria and things of that nature as well. So we have Aquarius with Mars and Saturn, and we have Capricorn has Jupiter and Pluto in it, and the message with that is expansion, scholar, the mystic, sincerity, affection, And this is the drive to make it happen versus procrastination and addiction. So Pluto is the rebirth planet with the 6 and all that, and then Jupiter is at 25 degrees, which is bringing the 7. That's where I'm getting the scholar, the mystic, sincerity, and affection. This moon comes with a lot of energy and a lot of ways of reconnecting old connections and actually healing old connections. Fear is not a great way of getting people to get together, but it does bring people together. People you haven't talked to for a while, suddenly you want to call. These are a time for sincerity in your affections when you are talking with people. And the drive to make it happen. Don't stress if you can't make it happen right away, but definitely plan on making things happen. That is an important part of manifestation, is making plans and setting goals. It doesn't matter. Excuse me. It's been pollen season down here in the south. We've been saying it's a game of plague or pollen. It's like, are you sick or do you just have allergies? Anyway. We got the drive to make it happen versus the procrastination. So that is still right along with the hope and inspiration versus boredom and despair. Are you planning on making things happen? Are you still working towards goals? Just because you can't see your family don't mean you can't plan a party in, a couple of months this summer, whatever. Make the plans. Worst case scenario is they fall through, but at least you're putting out that bit of hopeful manifestating energy forward, even though you can't make things happen as quickly as you would like them to. For Pisces, we have Neptune and Mercury. So this is new truths, new projects, intuition. You got the scholar, the mystic, messages again. We've got illusions and misconceptions cleared through solitude and introspection. So this is really taking the time. The scholar has come up several times through doing all the numerologies for these charts, and it's really a time to do your own research and make your own mind up about things, and don't just blindly follow the program that's being thrown out there at you. Definitely put your focus towards new projects. When new truths come available, open your mind to them, allow them, process them. Actually, don't just write things off because they don't fit into your narrative. That's cognitive dissonance. When someone says something you don't want to hear, you have an angry response. So this is really a time to just open your mind to these new shifts and energy that are happening right now, and do your own research, especially into mystic knowledge, while all this is going on. So we also have Uranus in Taurus, and that is adapting to the fast-paced changes to the traditional way of doing things, which the whole globe is in this right now. It is, there's certain traditions that aren't going to survive this. And this is all going to definitely change the way everybody interacts from now on. So this is really a time you can either adapt and roll with the changes, or you can fight them tooth and nail like a bull being dragged through the field. I suggest rolling with it. Roll with it without stress. Allow things to happen. Allow things to change, and be prepared to adapt. That is the most beautiful thing with the human mind. It has the unfeathered potential to adapt to any circumstances. We talk about that a lot with comfort zones. It's amazing what people will get comfortable with. This is the opposite. You can get comfortable with adapting to these changes. We have Gemini has Venus in it. This is a time to get creative, even extravagant if you have to. A time to get creative in rebuilding relationships. So this social distancing is really I think, really ringing clear. And I find it funny that all this lines up so much, because a lot of people are having to get very creative. You see a lot of those positive puff pieces on TV of people doing drive-by weddings and all these other things. And that is just it. It is time to just, if you really care about somebody and you're really missing them, don't be afraid to get a little cheesy with it. Definitely still keep that sincerity with your infections, but don't be afraid to go a little extravagant to show the people that you love how much you love them. And then I went ahead and added the North Node at 3 degrees of Cancer. And this is creativity, courageous conquest, victorious in overcoming obstacles versus forcing things without a direction. So there's victory in overcoming obstacles. If you're searching for solutions, you will find solutions. If you're searching for excuses, you will find excuses. But if you are searching for solutions and you're not finding one you like, and you are trying to force solutions that keep falling through, it's time to adapt. There's a difference between putting effort in a direction and forcing something so hard that just is not going to work. There's a reason the universe is stopping you from doing it that way. And it is time to adapt to the changes and be victorious in overcoming obstacles, instead of forcing yourself in a direction with no really end goal because you don't know what's happening. Now for this moon, I also drew out, 2 of my goddess cards that represent Aries and Libra, and you have Freya, power, and Libra with justice. And this is what I'm talking about. It's time to choose what you are going to fight for. Are you going to fight for hope? Are you going to battle everybody and make this a time of angry energy? It's really important on what you choose to focus on right now. You can focus on everything that is a dilemma and everything that is a problem, and you can sit there and force and fight things that are not working, or you can seize that power to adapt. And with the Justice card, it is all about, like I said, this is a time of karmic justice and retribution. People will go through this crisis and survive and be in the positions that they put themselves in. An example that I have for that is people who are not paying their bills right now, thinking that they're just going to get a wave at the end of all of this, and that those back bills aren't going to come due at some point. And now when these people are crying in 2-3 months, it's going to be a lot of people going, because a lot of these people that are not paying their bills are still working, are still getting their regular checks. They are still getting their regular income. They're just choosing not to, like it's free money, and it's not. And that's going to bite them in the ass in the end. So this is what I mean by karmic justice and retribution. People who are greedy and have been greedy, this is where the shift is really going to be clearing a lot of that energy. Plus, the whole planet's frequency is rising. I just find it funny that all the symptoms of this virus are also the symptoms of the ascension flu that a lot of people have been suffering for well over 2 years now. And they also say that the side effects are the same as high altitude oxygen deprivation. So I choose to see this whole experience as the planet shifting into a higher frequency. And some of us have been preparing for it, and some of us haven't. And the trials they are going through are going to be the trials that bring them to that frequency with us. So don't stress too much. This will affect everybody, but that's just, that's how cycles roll. That's how, this is nothing new to humanity, so this is just another cycle, and we will be on the other side of it. As a side note, talking about the collective and the global community, on April 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be doing a 30-minute meditation, and we're just asking everybody to just lie down and quiet your minds for about 30 minutes on April 11th at 1 p.m. And just really focus on connecting with the energies around you. That's all we're asking people to do. It's just a unity thing. It's just laying down and everybody being still and quiet for 30 minutes and bringing in the collective unity. Now, instead of doing a ritual this month, I thought it would be fun to do a little divination practice with you guys. Now, some people just pour the tea in there, but I actually like to drink my tea. So we're going to do a little tea divination, just the most basic way of doing this. I think this would be a fun practice to do on the full moon. This is a great self-love type practice. This is about searching and the scholar and searching for your own inner mysticism. So the tea that I'm using, I call it Beltane tea because it has hawthorn in it, which is a major herb for Beltane. It's also called the witch's tree. It's good for protection. It wards off evil spirits. It's used in sabbats and rituals. It can be burned as an incense, which I put in there in the very beginning. It's a great antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. It promotes heart health and circulation and healing. So if you're looking for a healthy tea right now, that's a great choice. Chamomile removes negative energy. It treats fevers and insomnia and anxiety and boosts immunity, which I know a lot of people have been struggling with sleep lately. So chamomile is a great aid in that. If you're really struggling to sleep, I would add valerian root. Peppermint is for clearing, raising vibrations, promotes prophetic dreams, and promotes gut health and treats digestive issues. And the steam in the peppermint helps your sinuses and lungs, obviously. Okay, so you steep your tea. You don't have to use, this is my little tea maker thing. But you just steep your tea. I do suggest drinking your tea. Now, if you don't have a tea, you can just use a tea bag, drink your tea, and then split your tea bag open. You're going to leave a little bit of liquid in the bottom of it so that you can swirl your tea leaves around. Alright, so you're going to steep your tea for a few minutes, drink on your tea, and the whole time you're going to want to be focusing on whatever situations or circumstances that you are seeking guidance with. Once you're down to about the bottom, you can take it in your left hand and turn it 3 times. Alright, it says drop on saucer and then ask your question. Usually most people wait about a minute or two, but we're kind of crunched for time, so I'm just going to go ahead. Once you've asked your question and sat with your saucer for a minute, then you're going to want to turn it. Three times. And then you hold it with the stem. I used a glass cup because I thought it would be easier to see. And actually, I don't own any fancy little teacups, so I'm definitely going to be ordering them, even though I'll probably get back ordered because it's non-essential. But you want the stem of your cup pointed down towards you. And the closer to the stem of the cup represents yourself. And the further away as you travel from the cup is further away from yourself. So if you're asking about a certain situation, this side would be you, this side would be them. Now, how the rings work is the closer to the rim is closer to the present. So around the rim is like 1 to 3 months. The middle of the cup is like 3 to 6 months. And then way down in the bottom of the cup is the distant future, like 6 months to a year. I also read it in directions. So you have north, south, east, west. So north would be things in the physical realm that you can work on if you're just doing a self ritual. These are things that you could do in the physical realm. thoughts and words and where your mind should be or where your mind is. Your fire, your passion, your purpose closer to the south where self is. And then you have the water where your emotions and everything lie. So what you'll do is you'll then take the cup and you'll start from here, and then you'll turn it and you'll just look to see what symbols you see as you turn it 3 times. And now, I don't know if you can see that. In my cup, you can see that most of the energy is in the self area. So it shows that most of the work that I need to be doing right now is on self, towards the self end, from now, present, into the distant future. And then I can look to see what symbols and things that I see within my cup. Now, the reason I love tea divination is it really is a personal thing. I suggest you go ahead and you can draw yourself up a ring like this. And then that way, what symbols you see, you can write and draw out on your little thing, on your paper. And then you can research each symbol as it means to you and translate your own divination cup. I'm going to be doing a group with this on the full moon in the Coven the Silver Cord. I'll put the link below for you guys if you'd like to join us. And yeah, that's all I've got for you guys this month. Like I say, if you've enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, spank the bell to get more notifications. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Blessed be all those who walk these paths with me.